I'm just going to. Okay. So I believe it is going live on YouTube now. So they should be able to hear us.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Not that we're gonna answer you. We're busy.
Yeah, we're.
Yes, you might want to mention that about the comments.
But also I think they would be very well aware, because if you just look at like what they're seeing that. I think they're gonna be like, they're very busy.
Yeah.
But
sorry, everybody.
yeah. So I think we should just get into it here. So yeah, we got everyone there, which is cool.
Nice to see everybody's, metaphorical faces again.
Should I keep this up or should I not keep it up? As far
I
as
have it up right in front of me. So.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I like if there's a cool, interesting question or something like that.
I think But
other than that, guys, we're just gonna be talking.
Maybe if someone donates, we'll like shout them out in the podcast or something. I don't know.
Donate if you got a really crucial question.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. So we're filming on the video. We got the audio. I'm gonna make sure the audio is recording. Jonah, you want to do a little mic check?
Mic check, mic check. We are here live in the KLR studio. Can you hear me?
Okay. Wait. Hello. Get really close to it and do that again.
Like, what do you mean? To the mic?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Colby?
Okay. I think that's. It's because our gain is up a lot. That's why.
Yeah, we're sharing a mic, so
yes.
We may be a little too loud. Who knows?
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay, now that makes sense.
Oh, Whittle Indian Girl just showed up.
Whittle Indian Girl?
The classic.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's go right into it.
Awesome.
All right. We are back with a special guest. We haven't done that before on our podcast. I mean, we're only in episode 2, but we got Bryce Ham.
A special guest you might be very familiar with.
Yes.
Him and his work.
Yes. All right. Bryce, are you excited to be on the podcast?
I'm so pumped. I love this, dude. I haven't seen some of your faces in too long. Right here, you guys get to listen to for the other podcast episodes are two of my favorite people in the world to talk to about film and story and the news of the world. And so, yeah.
News of the world.
Yeah.
That was, from the last episode we did.
Yeah. I would never pass up a chance to talk to these guys. It's wonderful company. You're lucky to enjoy them.
All right. So I guess, Bryce, you can start us off here. What do we talk? We don't even know what we're talking about here for your segment of the podcast here.
Yeah. So I just got to listen to a whole lot of Jonah and Colby recording the podcast you guys will see later.
He was just in his room, just judging us. No, tell the thing that happened when you were talking about The Witcher. And,
it was actually really funny. Very wholesome, though. I gotta say, it was like, it was a great moment because I was like, oh yeah, I think in The Witcher, the book talks about Geralt's eyes not being gold like a cat, and then. And midway through, I'm like, and I really like the and then I hear Bryce get up, and he's just staring at me from his room, like, and I'm like, we gotta cut that. So
I felt like I was Jamie in the Joe Rogan show, going like, actually,
No, you saved me from looking like a jackass to making it into something funny. So
yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I just got to hear the guys talking about film and something we're all really excited about, obviously. For a while, but to you guys it's kind of new. So I'm bringing the topic up. You guys just spent a ton of time talking about film and stuff, but I want to ask you guys a couple big questions. Everybody can kind of hear what we think about these. These are very broad.
Okay. What do we got?
So I wrote 3. I got my first big question for us is something I've been wondering about. What was the watershed film of our decade? And what I mean by that is, in a lot of decades, you can look at the 80s, the 70s, 90s, or whatever, and think about maybe a movie that changed all the movies afterward. Like The Matrix made everybody think about digital effects differently and action, and slow-mo and all that. Star Wars made people think of practical effects differently.
So of our generation, so within the last 20 years or something.
Yeah, I was racking my brain trying to think about what movies have changed movies in our time, and I can't really land on one.
If I may,
Yes,
be
Jonah,
the first.
please.
I would go out on a limb. I don't know. From my personal perspective or personal opinion, I'm sure that movies have shared this quality with this movie, but I would say 2008, The Dark Knight, like Heath Ledger and his performance. I mean, look at Jared Leto and how much everyone hated his like, oh, you're just trying to be like Heath Ledger, blah blah blah. Like, I think that his performance like stuck with a lot of people, and maybe even like his method acting. I mean, method acting was a thing before he was around, so it didn't like change that. But just the fact that, I mean, he was able to. I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone here, but most things I've seen on the internet and social media, Instagram, what have you, like anything I see about Joker comparisons, it's always everyone's like Heath Ledger is the GOAT.
Yeah.
And before him, Jack Nicholson was amazing.
Yeah.
Recently, Joaquin Phoenix entered the conversation.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
totally.
they had the bar was so high for that movie. You know, like if you think, they're making a Joker movie. Okay, how are we gonna?
It was kind of like the stakes were set against Joaquin Phoenix because of those shoes, and he filled them fabulously.
Kind of like, I feel like Jared Leto kind of had faced he faced the same fucking
I feel like it's
altitude.
not even Jared Leto's fault though, because he talked about like that movie and how much of a dumpster fire it was, and I don't know.
He took the shoes, like the Joker shoes, to fill and like flushed them down the toilet.
Yeah,
like,
that was tough. It was like rough. Pretty relatively, like right after that whole thing. But Jonah, to piggyback on just like Watershed, just like changing the game, I think the whole Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy, just setting the bar for superhero movies. Like, I think that's what that whole trilogy did, making like, okay, we're gonna make superhero movies dark and like really good, writing, everything, characters.
Yeah, it was also, I'd say, this isn't a huge thing, but it really kind of, I think it gave Marvel notes for at some point, like, because Christopher Nolan is an amazing director. He's not a guy that like just does things for hire. He did it because he was passionate about it.
Yeah, he's not going to just do it to make money.
Right.
He's going to do it because he cares.
And later, the best Marvel movies are the ones where they got like passionate directors, like indie directors, James Gunn and the Coen brothers and all that. So yeah, I don't know. That was a big one. Dark Knight. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's cool.
To kind of piggy.
Yeah, what do you think?
Okay, so
what's your watershed movie?
This kind of like you choosing Dark Knight kind of inspired this decision, just like right off the cuff here. But Iron Man.
That was my pick.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
That just because that kind of came out Dark Knight kind of came out 2008, right?
I think Iron Man came out in 2007.
2007. So
I think it was 9.
I would say
I'm gonna fact check that.
All right, Jamie's gonna look it up.
Jamie.
Go ahead.
But I would say Iron Man, just because it was like, okay, Marvel, that set the whole thing for Marvel. What's your take on Iron Man?
Yeah, well, so I picked Iron Man as the movie that changed it all. Oh, what?
2008.
Oh, nice. Thoughts for the Builders. My own band is in here saying Jonah Hill changed the game forever.
And then they just said Dark Knight. I can't believe Thoughts for the Builders. Who's behind that? Is that...
That had to be Asa saying Jonah Hill.
Okay.
I see, man. But my thought for like why Iron Man was my pick was not just because it was like a good movie. I rewatched it recently. It holds up. It's really good. But because when I think about the 2010 to 2020, I think about movie theaters kind of shutting out original ideas, and like they kind of stopped taking chances, right?
Right.
And sometimes you go to the movie theater and the only thing in the theater were superhero movies.
Yeah.
And so whether you're unhappy or very happy about that, Iron Man made that change happen. Like Iron Man was where it set up this huge universe that was so successful that studios could just keep pumping out those movies, and it's kind of changed. You can see other studios trying to make universes. Like DC was trying to do a cinematic universe.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
been a lot of
and
failed
they just
universes
haven't had a
because
good writing, directing. I don't know.
And even now, Star Wars is making a big cinematic universe that connects all its shows. And the Dark Knight, Iron Man was kind of the first jumping off point for like, it's now this popular thing to do to make a cinematic universe.
Is it all because of Jon Favreau? Is it
Peter,
all because of him?
Peter Feige.
Peter Feige.
Yeah, he was like the executive producer on Iron Man, and he kind of drew the map that you see.
I'm just thinking because like, yeah, the new, like we were just talking about this the other day with like the new trilogy, 7, 8, 9, and then like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
And are you talking about Star Wars, to be clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. But like just how Jon Favreau took Star Wars doing The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, just making it way better than...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I see you, Asa, still shit posting on my band account. Or our band account. You're just...
Austin just got here.
Also,
hey,
for
Sauce.
everyone watching on the podcast, we decided to make our last segment, the one with Bryce, we're just live streaming it. So,
hi guys.
It's a little, curveball at you, but,
I like the conversations happening in the comments. Keep it up.
Yeah.
That was a
So
shorter,
yours, I'm sorry I
shorter
took your,
question.
I'm sorry I took
question
your...
than I thought, because we had the same answer, oddly enough. I kind of thought you would do that, though. Colby,
I did not
huge
expect
Marvel
you to
fan.
pick any Marvel movie.
His Dark Knight made me think of that because 2008, kind of the same time.
Well, I'm not saying that Iron Man was the best movie of the decade. Like, that's a different conversation.
It's a like you
It
said,
is a good movie.
It's a good
watershed. It changed
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah. All I'm saying is what movie changed everything. And Iron Man changed things, you know?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, Carl is in the chat. What's up, Carl
I miss
Graber?
you, Bryce.
People get some Zaboomafoo. I'll pour it out for Zaboomafoo.
Cheers, guys.
Anyway, I have another question for you guys, a big question.
Okay.
I really want to know what you guys kind of think about this. This one might be a little short too, but so in our house, we enjoy a lot of old video games and old movies, and we play Blitz 99. We play games on the PS2, original Xbox, GameCube. I'm sure a lot of you guys can, I'm sure a lot of you guys have old games that you enjoy to this day. So I started wondering what makes media timeless, So when I think about an old book or an old movie or an old game, an old anything, what is it about one thing that makes it enjoyable forever?
Huh. So video game, just what
Putting nostalgia aside.
Yeah, like what if a viewer were to pick up a game they've never played from like 2003, and still be fun, like what has to happen,
I definitely want to say what makes a game nostalgic. I think the old graphics. I think there's something about you're playing an old game and that it has like that, just like Super Smash Bros. Melee or something like that. Like just the fact of the animation being just old. I think that has something to do with it.
I think to us there's a nostalgia there, yeah, because all those games had those polygons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think today a lot of games for the PlayStation, a lot of games for the Xbox, they're released on both platforms. So I don't know, like I've noticed I've been playing The Witcher lately, The Witcher 3, and I've noticed like a lot of big games like that. They're not all the same, but they generally have that open world, visit this unidentified location, visit
open
this
world.
unidentified location. Like the open world RPG games, as fun as they are, like I've noticed myself, for example, like with RPGs, I'll get really far into it, and then I'll kind of it'll fizzle out, and I'll go do something else. Like, for example, I hate to say it, and I don't know why, it's an amazing game. Kind of doesn't really tie into this because it's an amazing game, but KOTOR, I got through it, and I just stopped playing it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've already beaten it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I guess it's not the same, but like that, I've done that with so many games where I made it really far, and then I just am like, man, this is maybe a little too much. I need to play a different game or something.
I like that some people are putting their ideas in here.
Mm-hmm.
The music and feel and memories through
music.
the years, make a nostalgic game.
Oh, just what soundtrack?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, GoldenEye, for example.
Oh my god.
One of my all-time favorite games to play still because the soundtrack is incredible. The game itself is like impossible if you play it on the hardest mode.
I remember you messing with it and like it turned into an event when Jonah was playing GoldenEye because it was so unfair.
I'm gonna say this though, it's an event for any game that Jonah plays.
That's true.
Right. Like,
we should do some streaming with that.
Yeah.
Dude, we should stream Blitz somehow.
That would be really fun.
That'd be so amazing. Yeah. But would you call GoldenEye timeless? Could somebody pick it up today who's never played it and have fun?
Oh,
no,
I don't think so.
Nope, because I don't think a 12-year-old today could pick up that game. Because even sometimes I have a tough time, like, being smooth with the controls because the N64 is like it's so old and different from all the other controllers nowadays that like for example, half of the controller with the N64 you didn't even hold. You never even interacted with. Which is in the left side of the controller.
That brings up an interesting point because I recently was at a Thanksgiving thing with my family and we got the tiny Nintendo with all the games on it, you know? And we had my sister's kids who like their iPad generation, right? They're playing mobile games on their iPads all the time and just like watching streamers and crazy shit. Like, I don't understand. I'm like, okay, you just grew up as a baby on like, you know, they're playing crazy games on their mobile. And then, but they were playing the first Mario Brothers game and they were loving it because that tiny square controller, like they're used to using a phone anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's just a tiny rectangular controller. And then they're playing with pixel graphics on like a platform. Like the first Mario Brothers game is just another phone game to them. Mm-hmm. So oddly enough, it's come around to being like timeless.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just some game they would play on their app store, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, going back to the N64, like I said, like aiming with that thing in a first-person shooter is like, even though as iconic as GoldenEye is, like that was the first multiplayer first-person shooter. Like the first 15, 16 years of my life playing that game, I did auto aim, so I never had to deal with
really. Okay.
I never had to deal with any of that.
That's
and then
hilarious.
once I took that off, I'm like, oh, this is how grown men play it. Okay.
Yeah. What would you say is like what makes a movie timeless?
Ooh. Oh, man.
I would say...
And what's like a good example, you know?
I would say a movie that doesn't focus on like... Well, it could be current events, but like... Because like we were just watching Seinfeld the other day, and they like would say these things, like these, statements but that's for that time.
References
to pop culture of
references.
The time. Yeah.
But like what I think Seinfeld does a great thing that makes it timeless is because so much of that show is just like things that us humans do that doesn't matter if you're in the 80s, 90s, 2000s right now, even technology. But when I think just kind of just human, I don't know, conditions that they do.
Yeah.
Not focusing on pop culture references and more just on how we interact with humans, I guess.
What's your favorite example of that?
Like, okay. Like favorite, I think
we're about to give you guys some movie recommendations.
I think
young'uns, go check out some old movies.
I think, well, I mean, I kind of talked about it in the last podcast, but Fight Club,
baby,
with just how, you know, just being not caught up in materialistic things, which is always true no matter what decade you're in.
Yeah, that story could have been told 2,000 years ago, and it would still resonate.
Because even if whatever's happening, and they're just like, no, we want to get away from the norm because it doesn't matter whatever norm you're in.
Fight Club also has a great twist about like that being
mental. I don't know.
Well, that being a dangerous position itself.
So
I
think
not to turn this in. This is not about Fight Club.
But I would say Fight Club would be an example of that cinema that is timeless.
I'd say because in that movie, David Fincher, like, he made that movie modern. Like when you watch that movie, it feels like it could have come out in 2015. Like the way it's shot is super modern.
What was it? 90? Oh no, you said 99. 99. And yeah, it's 2022, and that's just as fair. Like that movie is.
Are you reading the age comment?
Yeah. Age of Empires 3.
I just read that too.
I wanted to shout out that we got an Age of Empires fan in the chat, and Jonah.
It's all
and
about nostalgia.
Yeah.
See, graphics. I was saying that.
Wait a minute, that's a great opportunity. Jonah and I have been playing Age of Empires 2 and 4 recently, and I wanted to. I hadn't thought of that. Age of Empires 2 is a game that doesn't rely on nostalgia. Like you can have fun anytime you jump into that game.
For sure.
I should have mentioned that. Feel free to put your own ideas in the chat. Like, throw up your favorite nostalgic or timeless games, movies, whatever. Fight Club. That's great. That'll age well, I think.
What's a example of like timeless cinema for you? Like
Okay. So
TV show or whatever.
Well, let's see. The older the movie, I think. I've thought about it because Star Wars, like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I think
that's good because
very well.
When they set a movie in such a different landscape, right?
Oh yeah.
That can set up a time for like timeless because we don't know about the galaxy far away.
It also is so full of practical effects that it aged really well.
Practical effects.
I think
effects.
Movies that tried, like the first movies that used digital, you go back and you look at them, and some of them, man, they just suck. They're like,
cringe.
Ooh, that's embarrassing. Yeah, because the technology wasn't there yet. Even this year, though, you can go and watch like a big blockbuster movie, and it'll have CGI that just sucks. It takes your brain out of it. And an old movie like Empire Strikes Back, where they're using puppets and real props, your brain doesn't have that uncanny valley thing where it's like, oh, I'm watching a cartoon. I'm watching it. Blah, blah, blah. Same thing with Space Odyssey. You guys talked about that. You haven't heard that.
2001: A Space Odyssey. Oh boy.
Yeah, baby. Space Odyssey.
Stanley Kubrick did that so well.
I think one of the best ways to be timeless is to be unique.
Yeah.
So, because nobody's made a movie like Space Odyssey yet, so it'll always
And what was that in the 70s?
60s, dude.
That
movie came out before the moon landing.
That's so awesome.
Well, I would appreciate that statement more if I had seen the movie, but
he hasn't seen it. We need to watch that. It's such a slow burner.
Yeah, you got to do it when you're like awake.
You got it because so many times, that's a perfect example of a movie that does not. It's not trying to grab your attention right away.
You're along for the ride.
The orchestra. Dun, dun, dun.
It's got super intentional sound design.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend a bunch of time talking about a movie you haven't seen yet.
I know. You gotta. We'll watch it. We gotta watch it.
Okay, here. How about I get to my third question?
All right, let's do it, baby.
This is one I've been thinking about all day. Actually, maybe this is the right time to shout a couple of you guys out. Lego Star Wars. Oh my God. Our roommate Henry is playing that right now. The Goonies.
Oh, yeah, he's really into that.
Yeah, GTA 5. You just revealed your age, man.
I remember that came out when I was in college.
Yeah. Schindler's Redemption. I'm down for a David Lynch or Lars von Trier movie review. Dude, that would be sick.
Yeah, Schindler's Redemption. A.K. A.K. Kristen.
Oh, hi, Kristen. Carl Graber says, I love that house. Well, Carl, you are welcome whenever. Oh, God, Carl is going to start dominating the chat. So anyway.
Let's do it.
Yeah. My third question is, can too much style be a bad thing?
Oh,
so
that's a pretty good question.
So I was thinking about this recently. Wes Anderson has a new movie out.
He has style up the yin yang.
Right. So Wes Anderson has a super style. And some people were saying, they watched the trailer and they were like, oh, I feel like I've already seen this movie because his style is so special. It's so unique, but also so striking that if you know the story, you can almost imagine it in your head because you're like, oh, I know what Wes Anderson would do here. I know what Wes Anderson would do here. Does that take away from your enjoyment, or is that why you go see it? So that kind of thing. I think it also made me think of other filmmakers who have styles like Tarantino, and like eventually somebody with a ton of creativity and style, like does it become one note and washed out at like over a long enough time period, or is that what you watch them for?
I would say when I think of that, the first thing that came to my mind style-wise is like comical movies, comedians.
Ooh,
like for example, Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
2005, I thought he was hilarious. Anchorman had just come out. I love Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And then like Step Brothers came out and it was great. And then like he just kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm just like, dude.
So style played out.
And Adam Sandler is the same thing.
Out.
Like I feel like there are a bunch of great comedian actors, and I don't know, they just
That's a good point.
do the same thing over. In my opinion, I guess.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, I guess as far as like more artistic. Well, see, for me, I kind of think a lot of Wes Anderson. I mean, I haven't seen the majority of the Wes Anderson films that are in a positive way critically. Well, most of them are, but like his best ones, most of them I haven't seen. But like a lot of his style, I kind of think is very dry, and I don't know. That's kind of just how I feel when I watch the movies. I'm like, oh, there's humor there, but I don't know if it's always for me. So
it is super dry. It kind of like, it kind of takes the rug out from under you, and it's fun. I think it's really fun. I've really enjoyed Moonrise Kingdom, Budapest, and Zissou. Oh, and Isle of Dogs and Mr. Fox. I guess I've seen a lot, but I've liked them all. But I didn't really feel like going to see his new one because I have other ones to see, and
which I heard was good.
Oh, I heard
that was great.
I heard it was great. I heard it was I heard it was Wes Anderson dialed up to 11. So I mean, I'm interested, but like we recently watched Django Unchained, and I was thinking about that with Tarantino. Like, could it ever happen where Tarantino is so like signature and so unique that you get bored of his style?
Well, I'll kind of go off of that. I don't know. I feel like not a lot of people, because I've only talked to a few people about this, but like his use of the N-word in a lot of his movies.
Yeah, he fucking loves it.
I have noticed some people be like, God, I can't watch his movies because they throw that word around like candy. Yeah. And it's just like,
they do.
I mean, but it is also to tell a story and to have it make sense. So, I mean, just like how certain big entertainment companies like don't understand the concept of like satire, and like even if like a show is doing something satirical and they're like, no, we can't have that.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you get what I'm saying? It's kind of like...
Doesn't it make it amazing that Tarantino's been able to get as big as he has?
Yeah.
Just firing from the hip like he has? Mm-hmm. Just does whatever the fuck
he wants. He picks, like, what I love about his movies is he picks, like, a certain time period and a certain event and just says, okay, we're going in that direction, and I'm going to make this to what I have always thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like he's doing indie movies, but he's just got millions of dollars to do it. It's weird. Not to make it a Tarantino conversation, but like, I was curious because, I just never thought of that. Like, can too much style be a bad thing?
Okay.
Or the gore, his gore, like, I know a lot of people that are like, God, his movies are just so over the top. And I'm not gonna use names, but
so this is what I'll say about style. So when you get a director like Wes Anderson or Quentin Tarantino or even Christopher Nolan, so they have style obviously throughout the whole movie, but it's their style. If you get a movie or a director that's trying to do multiple different styles and tries to start, going that route, then that's when style becomes a huge issue. You have to own what is your style.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it like that.
Like choosing your tone and going for it, yeah. Mm-hmm. But if Christopher Nolan made 9 Batman movies, what do you think? Would you enjoy every one of them?
I mean, I might. I don't know.
Well, I can answer that question. Did you enjoy Tenet?
I haven't even seen the full thing yet. I've tried a couple times, so yeah.
Well, that might answer that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
was that too much Christopher Nolan style? Was that what that was?
I think that's my point.
You haven't seen it?
I think that's my point. Is like Christopher Nolan has a style of, whoa, this is all so confusing, and then it all comes together.
But that's not what he did with Batman. That wasn't confusing.
I wouldn't. I mean, maybe not to you. Like
Batman was pretty simple. It's like Memento. Tenet, those are a different style than I'd say the Batman movies.
I don't know though, because I would argue that Christopher Nolan, the way he wrote the Joker and the way that the Joker had Batman going all over town to play his game. I mean, that's kind of similar to a Christopher Nolan written movie where you're getting a lot of that doesn't make any sense or whatever, and then it makes sense later on.
A lot of to me, the Christopher Nolan style is bam, impact, big forced epic moments, not forced but usually earned, big epic moments, and grim dialogue. I think about Inception, and everything's very serious, right? Everything's very. He likes his action to be shot quickly and stitched together and really intense and it's all really serious. His movies are super serious.
Yeah.
You can almost see the Nolan filter when you think about it. Because and see the people talking and being this is super important. This is super serious. But he finds really creative ways to shoot his scenes and they always move along really nicely and they're well paced, I suppose.
The thing I would say with the Christopher Nolan Batman movies was those were every story that he depicted and that he explored were just all straight from the comics. And just put a more realistic filter on it rather than a very exaggerated comic book.
Yeah, you couldn't have Mr. Freeze running around in the Christopher Nolan movies. That wouldn't make any sense.
Well, you guys talked about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Sam Raimi is a director with a lot of style, right?
Yeah. When we were when he was first becoming
Doc Ock and what does the doctor say when he makes the joke and he's
shop class?
Oh yeah.
That was such a Evil Dead that was a
straight from a horror movie.
Yeah, you guys talked about your favorite scenes or most memorable scenes from that. I picked 2. The engagement scene where he's I just asked the lovely Mary Jane to marry me. And then and Peter Parker reaches for things on platters the entire time and it just shits in his face every time. And at one point they the lady holding the platter literally just holds it up to the camera and then somebody just off camera grabs it right when he's reaching for it. It's a cartoon.
Was it the deviled egg?
It might have been the deviled egg. Yeah, dude. So it's like a cartoon. But then the other side of Sam Raimi is the hospital scene where he's doing the horror thing and there's the zooming.
So he did a lot of different styles, but he made it work, which kind of contrasts what I said. If you can't do a lot of styles, I don't know.
He used 2 kind of tones, right? But mashed together, it made it feel like a comic book.
Yeah,
because comic books can be really scary and really just goofy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really liked what you said, that one scene when we talked about this earlier, when he threw the car through the window.
Yeah.
And then when Peter Parker busted up through the brick and was that was you were anime.
That's anime as hell.
Anime
dude.
as hell. Sam Raimi is probably a fan of anime.
I'm sure. Dude.
I mean, Henry and I were watching that Jon Favreau cooking show on Netflix.
Yeah. Great
and
show.
he had Sam Raimi on there as a guest.
Really?
And Sam Raimi looked like such a nerd.
That's
I mean that in a
sweet.
good way. Like he was just like super quiet and
That's
like
so sweet.
really respectful. And it was just like
Just look
That's
what we're
hilarious.
doing here. If you look at this shot, we're like, those guys are nerds. Like, you got like 3 computers, 2 lights, cameras.
Star Wars
But-
thing on the wall.
Yeah,
Like, yes.
yeah, you're seeing it right there. Yeah. No, but it's just fun to come together and talk about all these things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man.
The last thing I want to say was I wanted to talk about where like TV is going. And if any of you guys can think about any examples of this, please punch it in. But for the last whole lot of years, 10, almost 15 years, Hollywood's been looking for books to adapt and make money off of. Like they'll take, Harry Potter made a ton of money, Lord of the Rings,
Salem's Lot,
and
they're doing that.
Hunger Games, right? So they wanted series that make money. But then they just all turned to shit. Like they started making movies that sucked because they thought it could get them, money adapting a book. And so we talked about how they're kind of turning their eye on video games now. You guys might know, Jonah and Colby just talked about how there's a Last of Us show coming out on HBO, and there's a Halo show coming out on Paramount, and so is this the new trend? Are we seeing studios trying to kind of find that golden egg, and what kind of game would that work best for, and what games are suited for a TV show really?
I mean, I think I feel like it's definitely a trend that's happening
They're
right
even
now.
doing Uncharted with the movie.
Yeah, Uncharted. Yeah, I mean, freaking Tom Holland, and I think Last of Us has insane potential. I will say, I think Last of Us does have really good because the characters.
It's already very cinematic. Yeah.
The video games is like a really good movie. Mm-hmm. So I'd say Last of Us has a really good potential for that.
I would do you one up and say Last of Us has the potential to fix what they ruined.
That was my next question on here. Was Jonah, do you think that I even wrote it down. Do you think they'll adapt the material of the second game verbatim, or do you expect they'll make changes to the story?
If they do it verbatim, it's going to be a bad show.
Well, yeah.
So I would hope that
Season 1 though has to get good reviews by the critics and the audience for them to even renew a season 2 though.
The only
and
way
even
I could
try
see
that.
the only way I could see a scenario where it doesn't get good reviews is if the actors fuck it up, which I don't think
because they have good material.
I don't know. I mean, there's been so many examples of people ruining good source material where you scream at them and say why did you mess it up? It's right there already. When a good book is ruined in a movie, you're like, why did you do that? The dialogue is right there. It's in the book.
I just I mean, there's always that chance that they, try to make it their own, try to veer away from the first game, and it they could totally butcher it. But I think I don't know. I think my thought on them making it into a show is if you just adapt season 1 and make it like the first game, you can't go wrong there. But I think if they want to retain positive feedback with the show, they need to change. See, if season 2 is a direct, if by the end of season 1 they're caught up to the end of game 1, they need to revisit the writer's room and talk about how they could make the second game. They could make everything that happens in the second game happen, but just change the order in which it happens to make it all make sense. But sorry, we're trying to answer questions.
Well, this dude, have you seen the new Batman trailer? What's your opinion on it?
Oh,
thank
God.
you, Nelson S.
We
Fernandez.
there's been 2, I think, trailers on it, but
yeah.
oh man,
What do we think?
I absolutely see so much potential with Robert Pattinson as Batman, and then forgetting who is playing Jim Gordon's character. It's probably the first time in like cinema history that Jim Gordon is being depicted
by a black guy.
By a black guy. Yeah, which I think
Jeffrey Wright.
Wasn't there a comic? I don't remember. Maybe not.
But Jeffrey Wright in Westworld, super good. Even in that.
Look who's playing the Riddler.
I know, and
I did not realize.
Did you see who's playing the Penguin?
No.
You're gonna.
Oh my! Colin Farrell's a penguin. Dude, what?
And Andy Serkis is Alfred Penny.
Wow.
Oh yeah. But it's supposed to be a very young. It's supposed to be like year one Batman.
Yeah.
Kind of like the comic book. Yeah. So
that's why.
Well, like Batman Begins, I guess.
That's why we see him kind of losing his shit in the trailer. He's new to the job.
Yeah, and he's like justice.
Yeah.
But no, Jeffrey Wright. If you've seen Westworld, he like does some like detective work, and I don't know.
Yeah.
He seems like he is gonna be nails as Jim Gordon.
Zoe
super
Kravitz
excited.
is Catwoman. That's kind of a great casting choice.
I would love to see some detective shit. Like my favorite stuff in the Batman comics is the detective stuff.
You were saying this the other day. He's the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, and that's something that Christopher Nolan kind of passed on. He didn't really.
Yeah, he kind of like I feel like lightly, not.
Bryce,
I don't know.
Or I don't know. Yeah, he definitely passed.
Yeah.
I think he would really like the Arkham games because they focus on detective.
Yeah.
Quests.
I've always kind of admired those games from afar. Like they look amazing.
Have you not played them? Have you not
Never had them.
Immersed yourself?
Sorry.
He's gonna do it.
General Kenobi, this is a new style of stream. Unlike the dubbing streams, there's not a lot of time to read comments. I know.
Yeah.
I'm
this
sorry.
This is very different.
Yeah, we just wanted to kind of talk with you guys.
Yeah.
Carl Graber, Bryce is ready to leave.
I
do have to go.
He does have to go.
Yeah.
Well, this is perfect. Hey, Bryce, thank you so much for.
Thanks for coming on,
That's
Bryce.
so fun, guys.
That was a blast.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope to see you guys next time.
All right.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is a perfect segment into our TV show segment. Did I say this is a perfect segment?
This is a perfect segment, but it's also a perfect.
It's not a perfect segment. It's a perfect segue into our TV shows.
Damn it, dude! I had so
Wham, bam,
many
thank you,
notes
man.
on that. Oh, the Lord
and
of the
the thing
Rings
is, we already did
Amazon
it.
Prime has a teaser coming out in 10 hours.
All right,
Nice.
we did it.
Well, Bryce, if it makes you feel any better, Colby and I both had good things to say that we just never said. So.
Yeah, no, trust me, that happens. All right, thank you, Bryce. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks, Bryce. That was so
that was
fun.
sick.
Later. All right, are we gonna conclude this live stream, or what are we gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna conclude it.
That was fun, guys. Thanks
love
for
you
stopping
guys.
by.
Yes. Did you believe me?
Yes.
Did you believe us?
I think they did.
All right. Yes. All right. Take it easy. That was I feel like pretty cool. Just them seeing